Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. This is our season 2, run by Women Flix. My name is Yola Bastos. Follow us on social media by Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You will be able, by these platforms, listen, share, and like our podcast sessions. So, don't forget, follow us on social media. And if you want, you also can follow us on Spotify or iTunes or Anchor. You have plenty of choices, or you can choose all. So, I just want to say have fun, because it's new stories, new season, new inspirations. Stay tuned, and I speak with you later. Bye. My guest for today's podcast is Crystal Webster. She is the founder and chief of Solace. And most importantly, she is Maddie's mother. Solace is a community of grievers for grievers, melding tangible gifts and meaningful community to help those grieving. Remember, you are not alone. Her story is not unique. At the same time, she found herself lonely from the grief. She felt compelled to write her book in the hope that her adventure in loss, grief, and mourning would encourage others to share their stories, no matter what they are grief. Let's welcome and listen more about her story. Crystal Webster. Hello, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Amazing. So you bring us something today that is different from everyone. I'm so excited in one way. My listeners, everyone will understand what I mean, and I'm sure you do as well, right?
All too well, yes.
So getting straight to the questions I've got for you. Tell me, what made you start sharing Solace community?
So it's a very personal story. My daughter, Madeline Elizabeth, was born May 19th, 2010, so almost 10 years ago, or just over 10 years ago. And she passed away the next day in my arms while we were still in the hospital. And I was absolutely devastated. I didn't know how to function, and I lost all ability and desire really to act like a human.
Yes.
And so I knew that I needed to do something to honor my Madeline, but I didn't know what that was until about 5 years later, when the idea really came to me. I really think that my Madeline was like, okay, Mom, this is what we're doing. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. And since then, here's Sharing Solace. And we help grievers through their grief journey with tangible gifts and a meaningful community to back up those gifts.
Wow. That must be so, for you getting to this, like you said, Madeline just said, okay, Mom, let's do this. We got something to do. But for you get to that point, you must went through so much so much thinking, right? So much.
Yes.
Yes. And your community is about grieving.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have been able to work through my grief, and it has made me a better person and not a bitter person. And that is truly our mission for everyone that grieves. And honestly, everyone grieves at some point. I don't care if it's the loss of a child or a job or a parent or a friend or a pet or even a dream. Like anything that you can lose you can grieve that. And I truly believe that grief is grief.
Correct. I do believe as well. And grief has to happen, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But for a certain time, is a specific time that we should be grieving. Grief. Don't know what to say. But it is a time in our life when we lose something, we lose someone, a job, a pet. We need to go through that to come back.
Yes.
A better person or stronger. If we
yes.
Say.
I hate when people say platitudes, things like everything happens for a reason. I hate it when people say those things to me, but also I am allowed to say those to myself. So I truly believe that everything I've gone through, it didn't kill me, so it's made me stronger.
Yeah. And do you, even if you don't like to be, if you don't like to hear that people say everything happens for a reason, do you believe on that?
I believe that I am allowed to say that to myself.
Yeah, okay.
I do not, it sounds like fingernails on a chalkboard when someone says that to me.
I understand. Because at the beginning, especially during that season of grieving, we are so fragile.
Yes.
If someone comes and tell me that I don't know, I probably can explode, or just in my own vision, I can just jump into that person. It feels like, he's not like that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, we only can get this into our inner after the grief, after this season of passing, like believing like it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I love yes, tell me.
And I believe that you don't ever truly get over grief.
Yeah.
You just learn to carry it in a more meaningful way. And at some point you do need to kind of release that debilitating grief, the grief that makes you bitter, the grief that makes you angry all the time. You need to let go of that, but you never truly stop grieving something that was that important to you.
Yes, I totally understand. And I did lost some people and even pets, but I still remember them. And they're not anymore on a grief pattern, but in a love pattern, or if I can say like that, or they are in a different place from the time where I did lost them. That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yes.
Because they're not anymore there on that times where I cry, when I shout, when I scream, when I can't sleep, but they're in a cozy place, in a harmony, in a happiness, because each of them, they showed me something. They showed me love more specifically. I focus on love instead of the sadness that day, that specific moment brought me. And that's powerful. That's why I agree with you when you say that we actually know we don't end up that grief. I totally agree.
Yeah. I really don't like it when people say they move on from grief. You choose to move forward, but you never truly move on.
In some way, these words that you say, they make so much sense. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this your story. Very, very emotional for me. It makes me feel more emotional because there we go. I'm not in a grief times, but when I think about, because we're talking about, it gives us something like no sadness, but it's something inside of me that, whew, but
Yeah.
and at the same time gives me power.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, and then you say on your community, you help people to remember that they are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work with these people? How is any techniques, or what do you teach them to carry on?
Well, I think that grief in and of itself is so isolating in that you feel like you're the only person that this has ever happened to, whatever that is, whether that's the loss of a job or a child or a pet, or, like, you don't quite realize that there are other people out there in the world that have experienced this before. And you almost don't want to, because you want your pain to be uniquely special and uniquely the best. But I think that it really helps to understand that there are others that have gone through a similar grief, and even not even a similar, just grief in general, that really, it gives you a little bit of hope, and it gives you power to know that you will be able to move forward at some point. Because when that loss just happened, it's all consuming, and that's the only thing really you can think about. And that is a tough spot to be in. It's a place you need to be in at that point in time, but also you need to find ways to move forward so that it's not all consuming, and you can think about that person or experience and smile and not just cry.
Yes. And what intrigues me is the fact that each of a personal job or anything that we lose, we suffer in a different way, we grieve in a different way, no matter what, no matter if we are trained. Like, let's say if you lose, doesn't matter, I'm gonna give you my example, my own life example, and losing 3 people in a row almost in the same year doesn't mean I'm gonna suffer. I know exactly how I'm gonna be on the next one, because it's impossible.
Right.
Yeah, it is impossible, because each person or each situation is different.
Yes.
It touches on in a different way.
And relationships are just complicated. I can lose my mother and you can lose your mother, and even though we went through technically the same loss, we can handle it in very, very different ways, and it can be a very different situation. And so I think that's what makes grief just so tough, is that there's not a game plan or a series of steps that you just kind of move through.
Yes.
Like when you're putting a puzzle together, how to do that.
Finding the way. Yes.
Yeah. There's kind of a way that everyone does that. Well, there's not a way that everyone grieves.
Yes. Yeah. So true. And when you work with the people on your sharing Solace or Solace?
I say sharing Solace, but it's all correct.
Well, when you work with the people on this community, do you do work is online or is live? Depends. How do you work with them in terms of you use technology to reach people?
We do use a lot of technology, and really our our goal and our mission is accomplished through the physical gifts that we created. And they are, the idea is that it is a necklace or a keychain, and you are intended to, it's a 2-piece locket. And the idea is that you keep it with you as long as it brings you comfort. And at some point, it kind of doesn't do that anymore. And at that point, you're intended to open up your locket, take out the middle token, put that middle token into a new locket, and you pay that new locket forward on to someone else you know that needs love and support as they're going along their own grief journey. And then on each of the tokens, each middle token has a unique identifier on it that allows you to register it on our website and actually follow it as it moves from person to person.
Oh, okay.
But then we also have message boards and journals and ways to connect with others that are going through similar or, not similar types of grief. Sharing Solace does not take the place of a traditional support group or a therapist. I believe those are all very necessary. We're kind of an additional piece.
Yes. And because of this, all this situation, your story, your journey, you decide to write your book.
Yes. Yes, I did. I'm super excited about it. It's called Confessions of a Griever, turning a hot mess into an haute message, laughable lessons for when life just sucks.
Oh, beautiful. I like the name. I'm sure the story must be, wow, amazing. Read your book.
Thank you.
The way you talk right now is like, yes, it's not on a sad way, but it's going to be like, just see the way the way life is it.
Yes. I really worked to make this an irreverent and honest book. And it's laid out in a little bit different way. It is obviously part my story, my grief story. But there's self-help and there's just a little bit of research, and there's that component to it, but it's actually laid out like a choose your own journey book. So at the end of each chapter, you get to pick where you want to go next.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's how grief works. It is not a cut and dry, go to A to B to C to D kind of thing. You have to make it your own, and you have to do what feels right for you.
Yeah, that's why I said like no other not the next brief will be exactly the same like the previous or the after one, because it's always different. We always choose different ways to carry on. So true. And so your book is all out already, right?
Yes. All
right. And okay, I've got on your information, I've got the link for the book. It's on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon, and you can also order it from my website. I get to throw in extra special things if it comes from my website, as opposed to Amazon. They just ship you the book. I can. I mean, that's what they do, but I like to show extra love.
Oh, that's lovely. That's good to know. And is your book is paperback or
paperback and an ebook. So if you have a Kindle or a Nook or whatever, you can read it there as well.
The only difference is, I'm going to say this for my listeners, if you buy the book on paperback, you will receive gifts from Crystal. If you buy by ebook, you won't receive these gifts.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to do it from my website too, because Amazon, you can buy the paperback on Amazon, but then it comes straight from Amazon.
Yeah, it's just Amazon Prime or Amazon Normal, and that's it. They don't send you any gifts.
Right.
And when was released your book? How long?
It actually came out on Madeline's birthday. which is May 19th. So this was my 10th birthday present to her.
Oh, bless. Oh, amazing. So beautiful. Do you have any, I do myself for my mom. I wonder if you have any celebrations, or do you do anything for Madeline every month or every year?
We definitely celebrate her birthday every year. Sometimes that is with a big party. Sometimes that is just with my husband and I. But we definitely celebrate her birthday. You know, we tend to go out for dinner and have some dessert and that kind of thing. Sometimes it's just very low key. Other times it's, you know, a big party celebration. Like this year, it is a big party celebration because it's her 10th birthday, and we released her book as her birthday present. But yeah, like at Christmas time, my mother, her grandma, always gives us an ornament for Madeline, or a little figurine or something. So I have a collection of beautiful ornaments and figurines, and she has her own stocking at our house, of course, but also at her grandma's house.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah,
that makes you happy and carry on, right, Crystal?
Yes, exactly. It's nice. I've been told this several times, and I didn't start it. But I hear that you die twice. You die once, that you take your final breath, and then you die the second time when someone says your name for the very last time. And I think anyone that has lost someone wants to hear their loved ones' names and know that they're remembered.
Yes, I do personally, but I know that some people don't.
Right, yeah.
To suffer. I had a situation not very recently, and I post a picture of my mom. And I normally do every month. I remember her because it's someone that I love and I don't want to forget.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean like I'm suffering. I'm not suffering. I'm actually the opposite. I'm happy because I had this woman in my life and I learned so many things and much more. But the person came back to me and said, please leave your mom rest. I said to that person, why are you saying this? Have you been with my mom? Because she's resting for 5 years already. So I don't know, have you seen her? Because I know she's resting. And the person said, wow, I'm learning today. I said, yes, because my happiness, my way of seeing my mom is not the same like yours or the other person. It's just the way makes me feel better, but that doesn't mean like I'm trying to show you that I'm suffering, because I'm not suffering.
Right.
I had my time for suffering, and now I'm just in love. I'm so grateful, and I need to share this. I'm not afraid to talk about my mom or to talk about her or to mention her name or to nothing. I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid. This is the way I feel. I feel alive, actually.
Yes. And you shouldn't feel ashamed or afraid to speak your loved one's name.
But some people think that soon they left this earth, they should be I don't know if it's forgotten. I don't really understand, but one day I believe that I will understand more. But
well, and honestly, I believe that those people probably have not had a significant loss in their life. And so they feel uncomfortable, and they want that uncomfortableness to go away. So they tell you to stop doing what you're doing.
Yes, but this specific situation, the person mentioned to me that I leave her rest and do like I do. I just suffer in my room. I said, but I'm not suffering. I hope I touched that heart on that day, and I changed the perception of of losing someone, of grieving, because we got times that we're gonna feel like we need to stay in our room by ourselves in silence. We don't want to see anyone. We cry, we scare, we scream, but not for life, because
Right.
this is not this person that I lost, or this situation. It happened for a reason, but it didn't happen for I stay here sad and grieving all my life, the rest of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
And your loved one, your mom would not want you to be
on that
sad and grieving in the heavy grief for the rest of your life either.
Definitely. I'm so sure, Crystal, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation and we're sharing our experience, and I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for bringing this kind of conversation to the podcast.
Oh, well, thank you.
Because it's not every day. I'm sure I never had a guest with a story about grief, and it's a reality. It's our lives. And I would like to ask you one more question about this situation. What would you like to tell to my listeners when it comes to grief? Just a simple.
I honestly, just to remember, and also you are not alone. So remember, you are not alone as you move through your grief. And there is no right way to grieve. You need to just do what you need to do to process your feelings and emotions. And it doesn't end either. Like, don't force a timeline or a time frame on your grief, because that is not possible, for one.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. And my last question will come to: how can people connect with you and find more about your work?
Obviously through the website, which is sharingsolace.com. That is where you can find out all about all the good things. We have a blog, we have all that good stuff. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. If you just, look for Sharing Solace and our big pink butterfly, you will find us.
Beautiful. Oh, he's a butterfly. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Your logo.
Yep. Because butterflies transform. They think they're dying as they move from caterpillar to butterfly, and they're really being reborn into something much more beautiful.
Yes, very true. I love butterflies.
Me too.
They're so amazing. The colors, everything changed. I remember when I was young and getting them into a box on the, how I call this? It's like an egg, and then they come out from that thing.
Oh yeah, their little cocoon, and then they kind of.
I used to do that a lot. Yeah, I remember. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly they start to fly and they get colors, and then different colors. It's amazing.
Yes.
What a beautiful thing from nature. Okay. This is it, Crystal. I'm so grateful for you to share your story, and to me and to my listeners.
Well, thank you so very, very much for having me. This has been awesome.
And I hope you carry on your journey, inspiring and helping and supporting more people around the world. And God bless you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is the end of our session, and I just want to say thank you so much for being with us. I hope that you enjoy. And if you would like to listen again, make sure you follow us on social media. Each session will be always on our pages. And also on our profile, you will get access to a link which will take you to Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, or other platforms where you can listen podcast sessions. Thank you once again, and I speak with you very soon. I see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.